The opinions expressed on the X and Y Show are the sole opinions of the host. Please note, there is no intentional desire to offend any member of the listening audience. With that said, if you still feel offended, tough shit.
It's time for the X and Y Show with your host, Mr. Roosevelt. He talks about man topics, lady topics, and relationships. He talks about love, sex, and infidelities. He even gives good tips. There is no other show that compares to the X and Y Show.
Oh yeah. Sit back, take your clothes off, and relax. It's time for the X and Y Show, where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. The only place on the planet that tackles the topics that everyone wants to talk about, but no one is brave enough to address. Nothing escapes X and Y, baby. Now, here's your host, Roosevelt Colbert.
And greetings, and greetings. Welcome to another segment of the X and Y Show, and I'm your host, Roosevelt. And I know I'm a little late this week. Some stuff happened, and some stuff happened here, some stuff happened there, caught me off guard, and shit happens. Sorry about that. So it's a little late, but I'm getting it to you. Better late than never. Better late than never. So I'm a little late, so forgive me on that, but you still love me. Let's start. Have a question from Andrea. Why are men so thirsty? Andrea says, why are men so thirsty? Well, Andrea, when I hear this, it kind of irks me. Everybody's saying that these days, everybody thirsty, especially those dudes from New York. Yo, you thirsty, yo. Know what I mean? Okay. Everybody thirsty. Shit. And what's wrong with being thirsty? Everybody thirsty. Men want women. Women want men. Everybody is thirsty. The only difference is some people can hide their thirstiness better than others. Some people can hide it, but everybody thirsty. So when I hear that shit, oh man, he thirsty. Oh, he did it. That's bullshit because everybody's thirsty. If you're single, and some married, everybody's thirsty. Men want women, women want men. So everybody's thirsty. So when I hear that, that's bullshit. I don't know who started that shit. Everybody is thirsty. And the people that hide it too well, those are the ones who are alone right now during this quarantine. Trying to not be thirsty, when they really are. So, everybody's thirsty. And that's the problem with society today. Everybody's trying to not appear to be thirsty. And the result is they end up being alone. That's the problem with society now. Everybody trying to avoid being called thirsty. And their asses are alone. Especially women. I say it. Shit. I'll say it. I know y'all mad at me. Y'all don't like me telling the truth, all the time. But you know how you getting in here with the X and Y Show. I don't cut any corners, especially women. Women are always trying to pretend like they don't want men and all that shit. But there's so many lonely women out there. You can't even shake a stick at it. Now, don't get me wrong. It's men that are alone as well. But there are more women out there that are alone because they're trying not to be thirsty. So, Andrea, everybody's thirsty. That's bullshit. Even myself, I'm thirsty. I admit it. I have no shame in it. I'm thirsty as well. If you're single, you're thirsty. Stop trying to hide from being thirsty. That's what we're supposed to be. We're supposed to desire. We're supposed to do shit that, we don't normally do. Trying to achieve the other sex. That's all. So everybody's thirsty. I don't want to hear that shit. So Andrea, I hope I answered your question. Another question. Thomas, you should record an episode doing on IG Live. Yeah, I thought about that. But, I really don't have a huge following on Instagram. I'm still trying to, understand it. And to be honest with you, I think if you're not twerking or shaking your ass, really Instagram is not going to help you, in my opinion. I'm just being honest. I mean, every woman that I see that's twerking or doing something that was sexual content, have 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, a million followers, and or you're a celebrity, I mean, you're like Halle Berry. She got an account. I think every time she take a picture of a doorknob, it get 1 million likes. Oh my God, that's a beautiful doorknob, Halle. Where did you get it? You know what I'm saying? Bullshit. If you're a celebrity or you're twerking, then IG is for you. But if you're just a regular Joe Schmo, IG ain't doing shit for you. Come on. Let's be honest. I was like last night, I was listening, because it's quarantine and sometimes, it get a little boring. I'm on there and I'm looking at Michael Blackson. For those who don't know Michael Blackson, he's a comedian, so, look him up, Michael Blackson. But he's doing a lot of IG lives now, I guess, because of quarantine. And, I'm like, these beautiful women trying to talk to Michael Blackson and, don't get me wrong. My God, I like him. He cool. He good, he's an okay comedian. But that's an ugly motherfucker. I don't care what nobody's saying. Michael Blackson is an ugly motherfucker. And they know if he was a regular Joe Schmo, they would not be trying to talk to his ugly ass. And he'd be on there and asking them all kind of questions and shit and burping and, oh, Michael, you crazy. I'm like, what? If he's a regular dude, she would not be even talking to this ugly motherfucker burping and shit. So, look, I don't do IG live because I don't have a huge following on IG, Instagram, and you have to have a huge following to do a live. Otherwise, nobody will be looking at you. So, that's why I don't do IG. I'm still trying to figure IG out. Maybe one day I'll get some X and Y girls or some shit. But that's the only way you're going to hit it big on Instagram. You got to be twerking, got to be showing your ass, or you got to be a celebrity. Point blank. If you're not one of those, then IG is not really for you, in my opinion. So, hope I answered your question, Thomas. That's why I don't do a IG live. Maybe one day when I get a lot of followers, I will. But for now, IG is not ideal for me doing that. All right, so without further ado, let's jump into this week's episode. Drum roll. I wanted to talk about this because, I talk about things that affect families. Relationships, marriages. And, if you're in a good relationship, it turns into a marriage. And then if you have a marriage, eventually you more than likely will have a family. So I like to talk about things that affects families as well. This week's episode is definitely one of those topics. I'm talking about education, and the question is, are children getting a good education in our schools? Are children getting a good education in our schools? Well, let me just read an insert from a school here where I live. And you make a judge. I'm going to read it, and you just try to form an opinion about this school. The name of the school is Christopher Columbus High School. This is their open summary if you go into their website. At Christopher Columbus High School, providing an excellent education is more than imparting knowledge. It's helping young men become the very best they can be in all the facets of their lives. Established in the spirit of Saint Marcellin Champagnat, founder of the Marist Brothers, Columbus is the beginning of a great adventure in a lifetime of learning and friendships. The adventure begins from the moment students enter our courtyards, where they join generations of young men who have been raised in the finest of Catholic educational traditions. Now, to go to this school, the yearly tuition that was set for the year 2021 is $11,800. Let me repeat that. The tuition, the yearly tuition is $12,000. Shit. Enrollment fee is $550. And that's due at registration. Okay. And that's non-refundable. The technology fee, $1,000. Textbook fee to be announced. Graduation fee, $300. So they charging your ass to graduate. Student-teacher ratio, 16-1. And then when you graduate from this school, you get access to some of the top universities in the country. Harvard, Yale, Brown, Stanford, Syracuse, Michigan. You get the idea. Now, obviously this is a private school. And at that school, you're getting a damn good education. So if I had to answer that question, as far as from that school's perspective, I would say absolutely yes. You're getting a damn good top tier education. Everything is better. They have all the facilities that a student could want. All of the things that parents could want for their children to be educated. And they have good teachers. They're not better teachers than public school teachers. They are not. They're not. Now I'm gonna emphasize that they're not better than public school teachers. They're just more motivated. They're supported better. So, they become, being that they're getting better support, they're more motivated. That means they're more happy, and they're able to do their jobs in a more happy manner. They're happy, and it goes over with their students. They're not up there miserable to their students because they're happy. They're supported, they're paid well, and they're happy. It's not because they're better than public school teachers. They're just more happier. That's what it boils down to. So that is a private institution. Now, how many, that's unrealistic because how many people that can actually afford $11,800 for tuition for high school? That's not even college. That's high school. So this is the upper echelon of people coming from very affluent families. So that's a small percentage. So how many people that can really afford this? Regular people can't. They have to go to public schools, right? So Now, right now, the United States is ranked amongst the educational systems in the world. They rank 25 to 27, depending on what list you look at. 25 to 27. United States, not even in the top 10 of ranked educational systems within major countries. 25 to 27, depending on the list that you look at. That's ridiculous. Now, I'm going to give you a little perspective to look at. Haiti, which is a quote-unquote shit-old country, according to some people. Now, most of their students are bilingual. Most of the Haitian students, they know French, and depending on what region of Haiti they're in, they know English or Spanish. Now, some are trilingual. Now, I'm talking about Haiti now. Some know, French, English, and Spanish, because, they border Dominican Republic. So some in the country of Haiti know, those students come out of schools knowing 3 languages. And I've seen that shit with my own eyes. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker knows 3 languages? And some of them speak Creole. Some of them speak 4 languages. That's Haiti. That's a quote unquote shithole country, according to some folks. Haiti. Some of their students come out in the poorest of countries knowing 4 languages. Some know 3, but they're gonna know 2. They're gonna know 2. They're gonna know English and French. Or English and Creole, depending on what. They're gonna know at least 2. That's minimum. Some of them know. A lot of them know 3. English, Creole, Spanish. English, Creole, French. They're gonna know 3. Some of them know 4. More than likely, if they come from Port-au-Prince, they know 4 languages. So I'm talking about a little poor-ass country like Haiti. So I want you to think about that for a minute. Now, public schools. Now, I set the ratio with Christopher Columbus, which is an elite private school here where I live. Their ratio was 16 to 1. Now, I looked up the ratio for this county, and on the website it said 28 to 1, and that's bullshit. No, excuse me. It says 16 to 1. That's bullshit. That's an outright lie. That's a damn lie. It is not no 16 to 1 here in Miami-Dade County. Hell no. Anybody from here would tell. That's a flat out lie. Hell, when I was going to school, there was at least 20 to 30 motherfuckers in the class. And that was a long time ago. That was over 20 years ago. So when I was in school, it was at least 28 to 32 people in a class. Now, I mean, it's 35, 40, depending on the class. Easy. Some more than that. Now, that's one of the problems that is a big problem in public schools. The kid ratio. There's too many students per teacher. How could you learn in an environment like that? With 28, 30 people. You got some people being a clown, some people being destructive, some people trying to fight, some people, and now these teachers got all kind of shit to deal with now. Back in my day, it was passing notes here and there. Now they got to deal with texting, playing games on their phones and, all kind of shit. Public schools have to deal with this kind of shit. Now, in our educational system, I think we have lost a notch. It's not even as good of one. Because when I went to public school, we got a pretty good education. We learned a lot. If you set your ass there and be still and listen to the teacher, you actually learn. And a lot of the stuff I retained and didn't know I retained until years later. I was like, oh shit, I knew that. You know, you hear a question on Jeopardy, what is another name for sodium chloride? Salt! You know, Mr. Hackett would be proud of me. You know, I actually knew that shit. So some of the stuff you retain, you didn't even know it, but if you just sit there and listen, you actually learn it. It was a pretty good education. But now, you know, teachers are dealing with so many things that, you know, education has stepped back a whole lot. Kids aren't learning shit. They don't know how to tell time. And I'm talking from a manual clock. You don't believe me? Put a clock in front of some of these silly bastards. They don't know how to tell time. If it's not a digital clock, they don't know how to tell time. We learn how to tell time in the second grade. They don't know how to tell time. If you don't have a digital watch or looking at a computer or looking at their phone, they don't know shit. They don't know how to write. They're not learning how to write cursive anymore. I learned that by looking at a trial a few years back. And the little girl was saying, you know, I can't read that writing. I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? She illiterate? She can't read. And the lawyer asked, you know, you can't read? You know, I can read, sir. I can't read cursive. I'm like, what the fuck? What? I'm like, what's wrong with her parents? That's ridiculous. She didn't listen in school. And then I did more research, and I'm finding out none of these bastards can write cursive. Some of them might be able to write their names, but for the most part, they can't even write cursive. They're not being taught anymore. We learned how to write cursive in the third grade. I'll never forget. Mrs. Wright. I'll never forget that. Taught us how to write cursive in the third grade. You know, we was motivated. It was fun to learn because, you know, it felt like we were adults. You know, we could write cursive, you know. They're not teaching that anymore. Not teaching them how to write cursive. These silly bastards can't even write a letter, let alone write an essay. You know, they don't know how to write an essay, how to write a paragraph, how to cite, you know, from credible sources. They don't know none of that. Basic arithmetic. They don't know a damn thing. No, there are no more school libraries in the school. You go to your school now, in the public school, they don't have a school library like we used to go to the library every Wednesday. You know, it was called a media center in elementary, but it was a library shit. Got to junior high, we went every Thursday. High school, we went every Tuesday or some shit. Every time we had a special project. But the thing is, we had libraries. Now they don't even have libraries in schools. Some of them, you know, here and there you might find one. But for the most part, they don't even have libraries. You know why? Because they don't want to pay to keep the upkeep of the materials in the books. Because they cut back on education. These states have cut back on education so much that they don't have the money to keep up with buying relevant material, books, and so forth, and also subscriptions to newspapers. They don't want to pay actual librarians. So if you go to a school now, and they so happen to have a library open, if they do have a librarian, they're part-time. They're not there all day. Not like when we were in school. Well, the librarian was there all day. That was her job, or his job, to be there all day for us. Now they don't have librarians. They don't want to pay them. And you go in the libraries now, they got a PE teacher, a student aide, or some shit like that. They don't have true librarians. So even if you do have a librarian facility, it's not truly a librarian. It's not being ran like a library is supposed to be ran. That's why a lot of these kids don't know how to use a library. They go to the library, they don't know how to find shit. They don't know a damn thing about the Dewey system. They don't know shit. Hell, when I was in school in the 4th grade, I knew how to find a group of books from the Dewey system, how to look it up on the book catalog. And so now it's all electronic, which is easier than when we had it. We had to look through those damn index cards. Now it's electronic, and these silly bastards still don't know how to do shit. They're not being taught. They don't have the facility. They don't have the opportunity to learn. No libraries in the schools. Don't know how to use a computer. Now, I know you're saying, my son and daughter are not silly. They know how to use a computer. I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm not talking about Facebook or Instagram and all that shit. I'm talking about a computer. You know, how to write formulas in Excel, how to use Word, PowerPoint, Adobe, Photoshop, all that you need. How to research with a computer to get credible resources, how to cite properly, how to use a computer other than YouTube and watching videos. That's what I'm talking about. So thus they're coming out being a bunch of damn dummies. They're going to school for 12, 13 years and coming out being a bunch of damn dummies. Now, a lot of you blame the teachers. Oh, the teachers ain't shit. They don't. It's the teacher's fault. No, it's not the teacher's fault. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some teachers that are sorry. Just like every profession. You have sorry doctors. You have sorry lawyers. You have sorry firemen, you know. You have that in every profession. I'm not saying every teacher is a damn top tier. But for the most part, a lot of those teachers are dedicated. You know, I think about some of the teachers that I had, and I wish, you know, a lot of them have passed now. But I actually started a Facebook page, and a couple of my teachers were in there, and, you know, I had the opportunity to thank them for what they did, because I know they did a lot of sacrifice to teach our silly asses. And I thanked them, you know, and they they heard that, and they said, well, you know, you're welcome, and blah, blah, blah. You know, I wish I could say that to all my teachers, from elementary to high school. You know, because a lot of those teachers were good. But, you know, from what a teacher goes through nowadays, it's hard to teach. You know, I said earlier they don't learn cursive, but they don't have time to teach them cursive anymore. They don't have time to teach them how to tell time. Crazy. They don't have time to teach them how to write a letter and write a paragraph. They don't have time. They get so much pressure, they teach them how to pass a test. That's what it's all about now. Passing a state standardized test. They don't get to promote unless they pass this damn test. If they don't pass the test, then it reflects on the teacher. Well, oh shit, your students didn't pass this test. That means you're a bad teacher. We're going to punish you. So teachers saying, fuck everything else. Fuck cursive, learn how to tell time from a clock, reading a paragraph, writing a paragraph, using a computer. We focusing on this state test all year. If I got time to do something else here and there, I will. But for 85% of the time, we focusing on this state test. Y'all gonna pass. I'm not being fired. Teachers are dealing with stuff like pressure like that. Another thing teachers are dealing with, they're not being paid a livable wage. Teachers are not being paid a livable wage. And a lot of teachers got to buy supplies them damn selves. They got to buy, for special projects and stuff. Teachers got to spend their own money buying markers, paper, glue, and, basic supplies that the school system should supply. Now, the teachers already not being paid shit, and then got to reach in their pocket to buy school supplies to teach their lessons. Now, you think those teachers at Christopher Columbus got to worry about shit like that? Buying school supplies to teach their kids? Hell no. They got everything they need and more. So that goes back to what I was saying. Not that the teachers in private schools are better. They just have better access to better shit to teach their students better, which makes them happier. And they're happy to do their job. They're more motivated to do their job. Not that Columbus teachers or other private school teachers are better than public schools. They're just dealing with a lot less shit. A lot of more things that teachers are dealing with. Stupid ass parents. A lot of dumb ass parents. I look at some of these teachers. I'm just like, I don't know how she or he does it. Dealing with all these silly ass parents and coming to school cursing the teachers out, because nobody can teach their silly ass kids. Yeah, I said, why do you keep calling the kids silly? Well, they are silly. But it's not the kid's fault. It's not the kid's fault. A lot of times these kids, when they come to school, the teachers had to start from scratch. These little bastards, they don't know the ABCs. They don't know how to count. They don't know the simple shit that they're supposed to know before they get to kindergarten. So when they bring those little dumb bastards to kindergarten, the teacher got to start from scratch. This is how you count. 1, 2, 3. ABCs. A, B, C, D. Got to start from scratch. They don't know shit. While they've been home with the parent for 5 years, they didn't teach them shit. So when they finally take them to kindergarten, they got to start from scratch. This is another thing teachers are dealing with. Teaching them shit that they should already know. You had 5 years to teach these little bastards something. You didn't have time to do nothing. You didn't read to them. You didn't show them how to count to 10. You didn't do the ABCs. You didn't teach them colors. You didn't teach them nothing. But you bring their little dumbasses in school, expect the teacher to do everything. Here, teach them. Do your job. That's something else the teachers have to deal with. I don't mean to call you kids dumb, but if you mad at me, do something about it. Stop taking your kids to school and not knowing shit. Teach them their ABCs. Teach them how to count to 10. Teach them the difference between red and yellow. So the teacher won't have to start from scratch. Be more involved in your county's education. And when I say more involved, I mean be at those meetings, those state meetings, those county meetings, when they trying to take even more and more money away from educational systems, where these educational systems are going by the bare minimum already. So when they're taking more and more money away, that means they're taking libraries away. Teachers never get raises. So in essence, the educational system is not getting better, it's getting worse. Because you have a bunch of mad-ass teachers who are not happy, trying to stay motivated, but it's hard. It's hard to do your job when you're not happy. Dealing with all this bullshit every day from the administration, and then dealing with these stupid ass parents, and then to top off the cherry, dealing with these silly ass, dumb ass kids. So that's what teachers have to deal with. Parents, you could help. Do something. The people that you vote for know their position on education. How do they feel about education? Are they going to take money away from education? Are they going to put money into education? Get libraries back in schools. Teach your kids the basics. I'm not saying be teachers, but help them. You have to be involved in your kids' education. You just can't leave it up to the teachers. You can't leave it up to the system, because a lot of kids are being shortchanged. Because a lot of times when that money gets taken away from educational systems, it gets siphoned to the more affluent areas, and then the inner city schools get fucked. So the little resources that the educational system do have, they're putting them to the more suburban areas, that are more affluent, and the inner city schools are getting fucked. That's why they're D-, F, D+ schools. They don't have the facilities. They're not getting what those schools in the suburbs are getting. It's not the same. Don't fool yourself. And I'll tell you another thing. A lot of stuff is racial as well. I did a study for underprivileged students being bused to more affluent areas to get education. And a lot of, at one school in New York, I can't remember the name, but the parents of those students came to a meeting. They called an emergency meeting, talking to the president, and they were angry. Basically because they didn't want those underprivileged schools coming to their schools. They didn't want them coming to their schools. Why? Education, it shouldn't be racial. So, I think that, until we fix these problems with the educational system in our country, the United States are always going to be 25 to 27 or worse, depending on what list you're looking at. Until we start treating teachers better, more pay, better facilities and better opportunity to do their job so they can be more happier. I'm talking about the public school teachers. Until we start treating them better, they're not going to be happy. Until we start paying attention to who are we voting for in office and putting in these seats. How do they feel about education? How do they feel about putting money in education in our future, in our kids' future? How do they feel about it? Until we start paying attention to that, until we start being more involved in our children's educational life, teaching them how to do shit before they get to kindergarten, helping them out with their homework, making sure they get a tutor if they need, and assisting the teacher, anything you need, you let me know. You call me, let me know. Not only when he get in trouble or she get in trouble. Anything he or she needs, you let me know. Until we start doing that, I'll have to answer the question, are children getting a good education in our schools? I'll have to say no. They're not getting good education in our schools. They're not prepared for college. They're not prepared for trade school. They come out of schools prepared to listen to YouTube. To be texters, professional texters and gamers and shit. That's how they coming out of school. And until we address those issues about our educational system, we'll always rank very low. And that's not good for our country, and it's not good for our kids. So if I offend you by calling your kids silly and dumb, then do something about it. Do something about it. Help your teachers. Help your kids' teachers. Help them. Be more concerned about who you put in these seats in the legislature. Know their position on education. How they feel about taking away money, or how they feel about giving money to the educational system. Be more involved in your children's educational life. Help them. You get mad at me, do something about it. Because of right now, our kids are not getting a good education. You can't blame it on the teachers. It's not their fault. It's not the kid's fault. Yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this episode of the X and Y Show. Be sure to check out prior episodes on any avenue that you listen to. I'm on quite a few of them on Stitcher, Castbox. I'm on iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn, Blueberry, and Google Play as well. So, Apple Podcasts as well. So if you listen to any of those, be sure to subscribe and let me know how you're feeling me. I'm also on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and Tumblr as well. So be sure to come on there, say hello as well. You can find my social media and my platforms on my website, which is www.thexyshow.com. www.thexyshow.com. You can find everything there. You can also find a contact form to say hello to me. And I am working on that store. I'm going to get it up. You can buy a shirt, send me a picture, and I'll definitely post that to IG and tell everyone and show everyone how much you actually being an X and Wyer and how much you love me. So I will see you next week, and I want you always to remember that you cannot have love without X and Y. Later.
You've been listening to The X and Y Show with your host, Roosevelt Colbert, the place where real relationship issues are talked about and addressed. Join us next time. You can now put your clothes back on. Or not.